How's it going, everyone? This is Rob with Rock Sabers. Just wanted to do a video breakdown of this particular build. This one took about maybe 3 months, and design, parts, wiring, putting everything together. I'm actually very proud of this particular build, and to have it in my collection. And it's actually pretty much my favorite because to me it's just freaking amazing. So bear with me as I break it down what we have. So we have a Scrapflex top. I removed the bunny ears. I added a couple brass accent gribblies to it. This actually fit perfect inside of the red button activation. So I removed the cap and put this in there, glued it on, perfect. Now for the side right here, I wanted to give it like kind of an exhaust looking port, as you can see. So what I did with that was I drilled the hole for it, and I put a 5mm accent LED housing in there, and it's perfect. So we did that. Let's see what else. This clamp belongs to a Obi-Wan. I had the 2 round holes for the transistors. What I did was I got these, I found these at a hardware store. They fit perfect. So I was gonna use the transistors, or I was gonna use some just more brass accents, but I was like, let's go with kind of a Luke Hero build with the 2 LEDs and have them go blinky crazy. And I like how that turned out. This kind of was a last minute find. I wasn't going to do this, but it worked out perfect. I'm glad I found these and went with that option. And we have the Luke V2 clamp card from Sloth. Put that on there. I removed the clamp lever. I wasn't a fan of it. I think I have enough crap going on this saber, and I didn't want my hand getting in the way right there, so I took that off. I'm always modifying my sabers. I'll find something and I'll be like, oh, that'll look good on this, so I'll always swap parts. Like for instance, this screw right here, I had to tap this to be 8/32 to fit in here. I'll probably look for a brass one and put that in there, this steel one. And the same thing with this. I'll probably, if I find a brass fitting that I feel will fit perfect, I will go ahead and put that in there as well. So there'll be some minor changes to this, but it's pretty much 100% done. I'm very happy with it. Let's see right here. Since I have a lot going on this side, I didn't want to tap the glass eye. I left it as is. I weathered it a little bit, as you can see, just so that it matches better with the whole flow of the saber, because it is a little bit weathered. So I wanted to stick with that. But this side was looking pretty plain, and I wanted to add a little more to it. So I gave it some claw scars. I gave it these 3 holes right here, so when you light it up, it shines. You have these 3 dots. I like how it looks, so I went ahead and did that. Let's see, we have the clamp retention screw. I left the pins alone. I weathered the inside blade holder. This is actually a Scrapflex blade holder in here. It fit the TGS Scrapflex perfectly. So went ahead and did that. So for you guys that like mixing parts and doing stuff that I do, you can actually do that. All right, so now for this, the slotted section for the clamp to slide in and lock into place, I like how that looks. Some people didn't like it. I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't get in the way. It's not gonna cut me. I think it adds a little more dimension to the build, so I went ahead and left that alone. Now, what I did was I got a custom saber shop, a Scrapflex adapter to MHS1 part. So that's what this is right here. So it'll screw on to the Scrapflex blade holder, and then you can screw on any MHS1 body, whatever, fit right in there. Now, I know I've posted a few pictures, and originally this was black. I had painted these lines, these grooves black, and I didn't like it. And then I went ahead and painted it gold to match the brass, but it looked too clean. No offense to Ultra Saber, but it kind of looked like they're gold, and I just do not like that. So I decided to weather it. I was like, what can I do here? Let's weather it. Let's see how that turns out. And I think it turned out perfect. I like how it looks, kind of grungy gold look. So I left that. I'm happy with how that looks now. As you can see, I also created these vents, and I'll explain why for those of you that don't know why they're there. Now, originally I had put a brass CoverTech wheel, but I don't trust the CoverTech wheels. I don't trust, not the wheels themselves, but the clips that hold them. I feel they're flimsy, and I've had one break on me, and the saber almost fell, and luckily I caught it in time. So I was like, this is noisy, but I will put a magnet in here. I'll figure this out to where it doesn't, wiggle and make all that weird noise, because I don't like it to be loud either. As you can see, I also weathered the pommel a little bit. I decided to go with the spike pommel. I was going to do the Luke Hero style pommel from MHS, but for some reason the spike for me works better. I like it. I actually love it. I know some of you probably aren't a fan of that, but it works for me. It's my saber. It's staying. Sorry guys. So that's what I decided to go with. Now internal wise, and let's remove the kill key. You'll hear the boot. Now electronics, internal wise, chassis wise. Chassis wise, as you guys know, I do my own copper chassis. They're a pain in the ass to do, especially when you're doing custom builds. So it's primitive, but it works. It may not look as pretty as other chassis out there, but I built it. I take pride in it. It's mine, so I own it. Now, as far as electronics, this from top to bottom, we have a deep red, royal blue green main LED, and then this LED. Both of these are RGB, but since it has a prism board, the prism only has 4 pads. I decided to split it into red blue and red green. So on the pad sequence, the way I have it wired up is red is 1, blue, actually it starts this way. So red is 1, green is 2, red is 3, and blue is 4. That's the sequence I went with. And my activation button and my aux button are in here. Nice and hidden, you can't see them. So aux buttons, main LED, aux buttons, main button, accent LEDs, and then we come down, and in here, I'll take this off, we have the crystal chamber. Now the crystal chamber, obviously I did all the cutouts for everything in the chassis. But this crystal chassis is from Adrian Tran. He hooked that up for me. I got the clear crystal quart, and I put the crystal holder in place. So Adrian did a great job on this. It fit perfect. So we have the prism board, recharge port, and we have a Adrian Saber Essential 2-watt bass speaker as well. So that's what we're running in here. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. I like it. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I use tape. There's also a sled in here that I created to keep the board separate from the metal parts of the copper, so it doesn't short out or damage, and it's safe. Everything's fine, so you don't have to worry about any contacts burning the board up. All right, so we'll put this back on. So now that Down in here, these vents are so that you can actually see the crystal chamber when you light it up. I love having crystal chambers, but the one thing about them is that a lot of them are hidden. You can't see them, and in order to see them, you got to take shit off. And I don't like having to take shit off to see stuff. And I don't like, I do like the ones that have the big cutouts, but I don't have a CNC machine to do those eccentric cutouts to where you can see the crystal and make it look nice. So I went with a little more creative, simpler design, and I created these vents. Now I have the top ones, and I have on the bottom, so you can see it on the bottom as well. Another thing I'm not a fan of is having to remove stuff to get to the kill key to boot up your saber or power it on. So what I did was I created a hole so that I can access my kill key and put it in and take it out without having to take stuff off. I already covered the D-ring, I already covered the pommel. So now we can go through the configuration of my fonts. Now with my fonts, before I go through them, I'll just kind of give you the breakdown of how I run them. As you can see, the first font is red, and the second one is going to be green. The third one will be blue. The fourth one will be a color mix of red and green. The fifth one will be a color mix of green and blue. And the sixth and last one will be a color mix of blue and red. And then there's other color mixes in there that I can just obviously swap to if I decide to go with something different. But generally that's just the setup I go with. And the same thing with the accent LEDs. They will match the blade. They'll match the first three blades, and the other color will match its flash on clash, blast or deflect, and blade lockup. So let's turn her on. So as you can see, this one I decided to go red. This is the only one that doesn't have different colors blinking, just because I like red. I wanted to keep a all color mix. So this has a red and blue color mix or a purple, and the crystal chamber will always match what the blade does. Okay, the next one will be green. There's the green, and then ignite. Get a red-green mix. And the next one will be blue. One thing I do with my fonts is I tend to mix the fonts as far as the boot ups won't match the font always, and sometimes I will swap out the blasters and they won't match the original fonts. So when people ask me, oh, what font is that? You know what, I always forget because I always mix stuff up and I don't want to tell you something and then it not be the one you think it is. So forgive me on that. So here's the red-green mix. It's kind of an orange. It's hard to see. And this color mix, I think I went with a blue-green, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yes I am. This one is a blue-green mix, so these will flash blue and green. So there's the green, and there's the blue. Try to go with kind of a orange red color mix. And then for the final font, it'll be a blue red mix. There's the blue. And there it is. I don't think I'm missing anything else, but this build was a lot of fun, especially creativity wise. I really enjoyed making this. And thanks for watching. Take care, guys and gals.